On yesterday's video, I talked about how to know what business you should start if you want to make money online. But on today's video, I want to cover when you should quit your business. Whether it's because you're testing a new idea or because you already have an existing business, but things are just not clicking. Because a lot of people are going in blindly, which causes all of these issues, but there is a very simple solution to this. And it is all about KPIs, but both in terms of inputs and outputs. We have 4 factors to consider. 3 of them are inputs, and we have time, money, and actions. And outputs, we basically have your results, which usually will be either cash, the money that you're earning, or maybe views if you're starting a YouTube channel or something like that, personal brand. But eventually these should translate into cash. But you know what I mean, right? Positive results. And here when I say money, it's money expenses, okay, like negative. So what you have to do, and this is the biggest mistake that most people who start a business make, is say for example that you want to do e-commerce. Instead of just going in blindly, which is what most people do, you have to step back and set up expectations for the thing you're about to do, both in terms of inputs and outputs. You have to analyze these metrics in terms of what do they have to look like in order for you to get these results, and build a very specific plan around that so that you can follow step by step and then know if it's actually working or not. So what this would look like with e-commerce, say you want to do drop shipping and your goal would be to make $1,000 a day, which to begin with is something that you have determined already by doing your research on the business itself. Maybe you know some people personally who are doing 50K a month drop shipping. At the same time, you know that some people don't make it and maybe they either lose money or maybe they make like 500 a month, but maybe with not that much profit. So you have this range, right? Basically from 0 to even, who knows, 50K a day, right? There's people who do that. So you decide that for you, it would be reasonable to achieve $1,000 a day. For example, when I started e-commerce and I wanted to get into dropshipping, this was kind of a similar goal that I had. For me, it was $2,000 profit per day. Okay, very important, profit. Now, here's the thing. What would this require, right? Because this is the output that we want, but what are the inputs that we need in terms of time, money, and actions that we need to take? So if we're doing e-commerce, and you can extrapolate this to whatever business you want to get in, how many products would we have to launch before we get a winner? And by winner, what I mean is a product that brings in a lot of money. It's basically something that would be able to generate us this amount of money, or at least some part of it. And then if we can stack up multiple winners, then if we add them all up together, we could reach this goal. So let's say with e-commerce, you find out and you do your research and you realize that out of 10 products, only 1 usually is a winner. Or maybe it's higher, you know, maybe it's 1 out of 20, 1 out of 30, or maybe it's lower, right? It depends on whatever it is that you're doing. When I was doing affiliate marketing, that was usually 1 out of 5, meaning that 1 out of 5 would be the one that would make you money. Okay, not necessarily a lot of money, but you would be profitable with 1 out of 5 offers that you would promote. Now, what I would recommend you to do once you know on average how long it takes to get a winner that would lead you to having these results that you want, is to actually overshoot it and multiply that by at least 2. If you can multiply it by 3 or by 4, that would be amazing. So if we determine that, okay, I should test at least 30 products before I give up so that I can see at least that I'm making some money with a product and then readjust based on the feedback of the business itself, instead of just doing 30, I would overshoot that, and honestly, I would just go for 100. If, for example, what you're starting is a YouTube channel and you're analyzing the market and you see guys like Mr. Beast, Jimmy Donaldson saying like, oh, you should not think much about your videos until you hit 100 videos, right? Just focus on making 100 videos, and then you can start to think like, oh, let's change the format, let's do this thing, that thing. But your first 100 videos, you should not be putting that much thought into it, right? So if Mr. Beast is saying this, you should just overshoot it and be like, okay, I'm gonna do like 200 videos or 150 videos. And the reason why we do this is because if you're starting for the first time in this business and you have no clue, you're gonna have to develop some skills, learn new things, and we're overshooting so we can compensate for your lack of these things that would make you succeed. Now, in terms of money, which is the next one, say that you have decided that you're gonna test 100 products, you now have to know how much money are you gonna spend per product when you're testing it. So if you're doing Facebook ads, which is what I used to do back in the day, I think I used to do, when I was testing products, between $100 and $200 per product in my early days. This was back in 2018, I think. So you can determine with this, if you're gonna do 100 products and you're gonna spend $100 testing them, well, you're gonna need a budget of $10,000. Or you could also take the approach of maybe doing less. Maybe you're gonna test 50 products, but you're gonna go at 200 each, right? So maybe you're aiming more for a little bit of quality instead of so much quantity, but it's basically the same, 10K. Then also, you have to think about the time. that it's gonna take you. So if we go lower and you focus more on quality, maybe it's gonna take you a little bit longer, right? So let's say that at 50, you can only launch one product per week. So that would literally just take you 1 year to test. Or if you go for the 100 and you focus more on quantity, maybe you can do 2 products a week and you can also keep it at 1 year. So now that you know all of these things, you can clearly see what is the path that you have to follow for you to get these results. You're gonna have to test, let's say, 100 products, spend $10,000, and it's gonna take 1 year of your time. And for example, with my personal case, I think it ended up taking me 8 months until I was able to hit 100K a month. Which, here's the important thing. A lot of you might be thinking like, well, but I don't have 10K to invest. That's pretty crazy. The thing is that we're talking about profit here, okay? A lot of times you might just be breaking even or you might be losing a little bit, okay? The fact that you have a budget of 10K doesn't mean it's gonna go to zero and you're literally gonna make $0 back. When I was making $0, I think maybe that was only the first 1, 2, 3 months. Then I started to make a few sales. I was still on the negative, but I was not losing 100% of my money. Maybe now I was only losing like 30% of my money or 40% of my money. So I have a lot of more room to make mistakes and grow, right? So these 10K that I have are way more efficient if I'm able to optimize a little bit the money that I'm bringing back. And eventually there's a point in time in which everything switches. And now you cross the line and you're on profit and you start to maximize this area right here so you can keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And the reason why this is so important, even if it doesn't seem like it, is that whenever I speak to people who give up on their business and their projects, they actually don't know this. They don't know what is required for them to achieve success. They just, oh yeah, I want to make $1,000 a day or 100 or 500 or 5,000, but they have no clue how long does it usually take, what kind of investment they have to do, what things they have to learn, all the things they have to produce. So it is really, really, really important that you know these things. And you can apply this philosophy to literally any area in your life, right? It's the same with the gym and your physical body. A lot of people, they're like, no, I'm not getting results at the gym. But it's like, okay, are you tracking your food? Are you tracking your workouts? Are you tracking your routine? How much are you sleeping? If we're not tracking, we cannot analyze what's working, what's not working. And what you realize when you start tracking everything is that the reason usually why things are not working is because you're not hitting your KPIs. I've been talking to some of you recently who've been messaging me on Instagram, and you've told me, many of you, that you quit some businesses that you were trying to launch. But when I ask you exactly, okay, but for how long did you try it and how much money did you spend? Very often it was like, oh no, yeah, I tried this thing. Maybe I spent like $200 or $1,000. Yeah, I tried it for 1 month, a few weeks, 2 months. Yeah, of course it's not gonna work. Like these things, very often it takes time. Once you've developed the skills, then yeah, for sure you can make things work faster. But if it's your first time with a business and you've never had a successful business before, it might take a while. You know, once I had finished working on e-commerce and then I wanted to go into affiliate marketing, which it is different, but structurally the way you operate the business, it's very similar. It's just that now you don't have to worry about logistics. But marketing is the same. The way you promote products is the same. The way you find your audience and you run ads, and it's all basically the same. So once I moved from e-commerce to affiliate marketing, it only took me now 1 month to start hitting $1,000 a day again, because I already had all of these skills that I had developed while I was doing e-commerce. Now, if you do all of this and it's still not working, I would say it's either because you had incorrect information about what it would actually take. Maybe you needed to do more, or maybe you needed to do it differently, right? Maybe you learned the business model from someone that was not completely transparent about how things work, or maybe it was just an idea that you had that was not quite polished, so that you had to do it a little bit different, or maybe you just lacked the skills and you were not good enough. Because honestly, this is something that not a lot of people talk about, because they want to pretend that everyone can run any business, and usually the people who say that is because they want to sell you a course, which, now that I think about it, I think this would be a solid idea for a video. It's something that I should talk about. So subscribe so you can be notified when I release that video. But even if you're not skilled, and that is the case, that's why we were overshooting before in terms of how much money you're gonna have to invest, how many iterations of those actions you'll have to put in, and also in terms of time. You know, I don't think you should try anything for less than 6 months, if I'm being completely honest. I would say minimum 6, ideally between 12 and 18. And if it's like a major project and you have to think very long term, you're going for a startup or whatever it is, you know, it's like something pretty big, I would even stretch it to like 36 months, you know, 3 years. But that's like for startups and things of that sort, not just some random online business that you're just trying to make some quick money with, like dropshipping, affiliate marketing, Amazon FBA, these kind of things. Now, one thing to be said is that there's some people that I've met in my life that the approach they take is, no, I'm gonna do this, no matter what. Like, I'm never going to quit. I know this can work, and I'll just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And it is something that works for some people. In fact, when I was doing affiliate marketing, there were some old ladies who were also in the course that I was taking, that they were like 60 and 65 years old. And eventually, after I don't know how many years, they ended up hitting it. And they started to make like $20,000 a day with affiliate marketing. I'm not kidding. Which goes to show that you can learn any skill, regardless of who you are and your circumstances. But just be careful with blindly committing, because you might be committing to the wrong thing. So be patient, okay? Put it at least 6 months, 12, 18, depends on what kind of thing you're starting. But be mindful, okay? Especially if you're buying into these online courses that some guru is selling you. So anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you can see that future video that I was mentioning before. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, go watch some of my other videos, which I think they're pretty neat and people seem to really like so far. But for now, that's it, and hopefully I will see you on the next video. Take care. Peace.